Associate Professor and Head of Department of Education and coordinator of this webinar. Welcome to you all. This is Rayat Shikshan Sanstha's Sadhguru Garge Maharaj College Karad, and this national webinar is organized by Department of Education, Department of Sociology, in association with Internal Quality Assurance Cell of this college. On behalf of our department and IPSC, I welcome our respected principal, Dr. Mohan Rajmani sir. I welcome Dr. Girish Kalyan Sethi sir, coordinator of IPSC. I welcome today's resource person, Dr. Balaji Kendre from Mumbai University, Professor and Head, Department of Sociology. I welcome Dr. Chetana Sonkamble, Dean of Faculty of Interdisciplinary Subjects, and my colleague, Professor B.R. Nadab sir, who is my coordinator assistant, and welcome to all participants. First, I have to introduce all the participants. I am very proud to say that there are 1,500 participants are registered for this webinar. 5 participants are out of India, abroad, from Iraq, Iran, and Kurdistan, etc. And from India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and Saurashtra to Mizoram, all the states are covered, or participants from whole India are registered for this. Now, just now, about 250 participants are in Zoom, and many are in YouTube channel. Why this club come here? It is the subject, the futurology of education and society in India. Now we are all in the effect of coronavirus, and that gave us another way of education and taught us how to live in this period. In meanwhile, it was the process, what that new education policy 2020, where it was in 2019. Now the government accepted in 2020, and the question came in front of us, because as the Department of Education and Department of Sociology, the new education policy definitely affect and change the structure of education and society. And we should, as a teacher, as professors, as professionals, as parents, all type of participants, we have to think that what should we do in the next, because of coronavirus, because of new education policy. What new education policy expect from education and from society? What education expect from society and policy? What society expect from education and policy? They are interrelated, and we decided to think on this situation, and this is the pandemic. This is what we have all time to think over on this. मैं तहे दिल से आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं। आई एम वेरी प्राउड फीलिंग दैट, मुझे इतना अभिमान गर्व हो रहा है कि भारत में से अबाउट 1,500 पार्टिसिपेंट्स रजिस्टर किया है, और 5-6 पार्टिसिपेंट्स भारत के बाहर से है, और भारत में तो कन्याकुमारी से कश्मीर तक और सौराष्ट्र से मिजोरम, अरुणाचल प्रदेश तक, पूरा इंडिया में से ऐसा एक ही स्टेट नहीं बचा कि वहां से पार्टिसिपेंट यहाँ नहीं आए। मुझे अभी गर्व हो रहा है कि अभी यहाँ जूम पे 350 लोग ज्वाइन हो चुके हैं, अभी हो रहे हैं, उनका प्रोसेस चल रहा है और अभी यूट्यूब पे कनेक्ट कर दिया है, उसका रिकॉर्डिंग भी हो रहा है। मैं अपने डिपार्टमेंट, शिक्षा डिपार्टमेंट और समाज शास्त्र डिपार्टमेंट की ओर से और आईक्यूएसी, इस कॉलेज के आईक्यूएसी की तरफ से आदरणीय महोदय प्रिंसिपल साहब डॉक्टर मोहन राजमानी जी और कोऑर्डिनेटर ऑफ आईक्यूएसी ऑनरेबल गिरीश कल्याण शेट्टी जी और आप सबका और ऑनरेबल रिसोर्स पर्सन who are expert from this sociology and education, डॉक्टर बालाजी केंद्रे, एक प्रोफेसर और हेड है डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी मुंबई यूनिवर्सिटी से, और चेतना सोन कामले जी है, वो डीन है इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी सब्जेक्ट के, और मुझे प्राउड फीलिंग है वो इज फ्रॉम बिलोंग टू एजुकेशन फील्ड, एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट। मैं आपका सबका तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूँ और हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर जी है डॉक्टर गिरीश कल्याण शेट्टी जी, उनको दरख्वास्त करता हूं कि आज के रिसोर्स पर्सन, दोनों रिसोर्स पर्सन और हमारी कॉलेज, हमारी संस्था का परिचय आपको सबको कर रहे हैं। आई रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर कल्याण शेट्टी जी to introduce chief guests to all participants and introduce our college, our संस्था to all participants. Dear participants, I am very thankful to you all. You participated actively, and maybe we will put this video on YouTube and Telegram channel. Give link, and you will be enjoying this. And all participants are who are invited and not they are coming in. All welcome. Welcome to you all. Dr. Girish Kalyan Shetty ji, please proceed. Over to Girish.
Thank you very much, sir. A very good morning to all of you. Honorable Principal, Dr. Mohan Rajmani Sahib, Honorable Vice Principals, Professor S.A. Patil, Dr. S.R. Sawant, Mrs. Kamre Madam, guest speakers, Professor Dr. Balaji Kendre, Dr. Chetna Sonkamle, Dr. Ramchandra Vanbatti, Head Department of Education, Professor Balasaheb Nadaf, Head Department Sociology, the teaching faculty, all the delegates and friends. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to greet you at this online national webinar on futurology of education and society in India. This webinar is organized by the Departments of Education and Sociology in collaboration with Internal Quality Assurance Cell of this college. Friends, before we start the proceedings, I would like to briefly introduce the institution and the college to the august audience. Established in 1954, Sadhguru Gargi Maharaj College, Karan, an autonomous college, is one of the biggest and well-known multi-faculty colleges in the jurisdiction of Shivaji University, Kolhapur. This college is governed by the parent institution, the Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, Sadan. As you all know, that Rayat Shikshan Sanstha is one of the biggest education institutions imparting education to the students of Maharashtra, particularly for the students of rural Maharashtra. And Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, along with pre-primary, primary, high schools, junior colleges, it runs 42 senior colleges. And Sadhguru Gargi Maharaj College, Karan, is one of them. This college is recognized by University Grants Commission with 2F and 12B. The college offers various diversified programs in conventional, non-conventional, and professional modes in arts, commerce, and science streams. Apart from this, the college imparts skill and career-oriented courses through 7 COC and 27 short-term programs. It is a NAAC accredited with A+ grade with 3.63 CGPA and is also an ISO 9001:2015 certified college. Recognizing its contribution to higher education, the college is awarded with the status of community college by University Grants Commission, New Delhi, and fees by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. I'm very happy to mention here the fact that college has been functioning as an autonomous college from June 2019 onwards. At this webinar, we have two eminent personalities with us. It is indeed a pleasure for me to introduce their scholarship to all of you. Dr. Balaji Kendre is a professor and head the Department of Sociology, University of Mumbai. He has been serving there for the last 12 years with all the glare of academic pursuits. He has done his PhD on the topic Migration and Development, a sociological study of migrant sugarcane cutters in Kolhapur district. Professor Kendre is quite productive in showcasing his scholarship by means of publishing books, articles, research papers, major and minor research projects. Till date, he has 3 books, 2 articles in books, and 6 research papers published in national and international journals to his credit. I'm happy to say here that he has completed a research project as a co-investigator on the topic Studies on Demographic Surveillance around JNPT site, covering a distance of 30 kilometers from the site. This project has been sanctioned and funded by the Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India. Under him, 1 candidate has completed his PhD and 8 students are pursuing, whereas 2 have submitted their dissertations. He has attended many national and international seminars and conferences. He has organized a national level conference on marginalization and migration in the era of globalization. Along with this, he has been extending his expertise at various sociological bodies as a member. I welcome Professor Kendre and look forward to listen to you, sir. Friends, we have another eminent scholar with us today, Dr. Chetna Sonkamble. She is Dean, Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. I'm happy to bring to your kind notice that she has a doctorate degree with 3 post-graduations. She is MSc in Botany, she has done her MA in English, she has done her MA. She has 19 years of teaching experience. Under her studious guidance, 5 candidates have completed their PhDs, 3 students MPhil. Along with this, she has also done 2 UGC-funded research projects on the topic preparation of content integrated tool for teacher educators and e-learning based on training program. As far as her publications are concerned, I'm happy to mention here that till date she has published 50 research articles in esteemed journals of national and international repute. She is a guidance scholar in concerned research areas. She has been quite active holding various workshops. Till date, she has organized more than 10 workshops as a coordinator for teachers and principals. She has worked as a director for National Interdisciplinary Symposium on Examination Reforms in Higher Education at Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Taking into account her contribution to the field of education and research, She has been honored with various national awards such as Pratibha Puraskar by BAMU, Shiksha Ratna Puraskar by IFFS, New Delhi, Indira Gandhi Shiromani by IFFS, New Delhi, among others. She also holds various positions at academic and professional bodies. It is really indeed a pleasure to have these scholars with us at this webinar. I'm quite sure that deliberation, their expertise will definitely enlighten all of us in enriching our content, our knowledge in the present context of education, which is being a talk of a day regarding the online teaching after this post-COVID situation. So I once again welcome these two experts along with all those participants across India attending this webinar on behalf of AGM College Karad and Internal Quality Assurance Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Girish ji. I am very thankful to you for introducing our guests and participants and college and Sanstha to our participants. Now I request our dynamic principal and most favorite in students, Principal Dr. Mohan Rajmane sir, to deliver his inaugural address to this webinar. Welcome, Dr. Rajmane sir, and over to Dr. Rajmane sir. Please.
A very good morning, one and all. I, Dr. Mohan Rajmane, Principal, SGM College, Karad. Today, the Department of Sociology and the Department of Education, along with IQAC of our college, have jointly organized national webinar on Futurology of Education and Society in India. At the outset, on behalf of college, I extend a warm welcome to resource persons, Dr. Balaji Kendre sir, Head Department of Sociology, Mumbai University, Mumbai, and Dr. Chetna Sonkamble Madam, Dean Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. I also welcome all the participants across the globe. Friends, we all know that education is an effective means of social transformation and national building. We have glorious tradition of education established by great thinkers and educationists such as Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, Rajeshri Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and Padma Bhushan Dr. Karmveer Bhaurao Patil. The tradition is carried forward for the development of nation. In this process, at the global level, we come across with great change which take place, and there is also emergences of new trends in the field of education. This webinar is a small attempt to be made to study and understand the various changes. We organize this webinar on backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic. It has made the whole human race to rethink of their ideas and concepts. Recently, as we know that the government of India, after 34 years, has declared a new education policy. To foster future generation, everyone in the society is struggling to acquire new knowledge. Again, since the advent of new technology, there is the globalization of knowledge. And in this context, it is important to know and understand the new Indian policy of education. I hope that the deliberations in this webinar will throw significant light on this issue. I am very happy to mention that in this webinar, more than 1,500 participants from various corners of India are participated. Once again, I welcome you all and wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to you all. मैं तहे दिल से आदरणीय प्राचार्य जी का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं और आपकी सबकी तरफ से मैं आज के रिसोर्स पर्सन ऑनरेबल डॉक्टर बालाजी केंद्रे जी, प्रोफेसर एंड हेड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी फ्रॉम मुंबई यूनिवर्सिटी, आई रिक्वेस्ट हिम टू डिलीवर his speech. The subject for him is role of education in social development, critical analysis of new education policy. मैं all participants को request करता हूँ, request to you all, don't be hesitate to put your questions. आप मराठी, हिंदी, अंग्रेजी ये तीन भाषा में कौन सी भाषा में आपका जो क्वेश्चन हो वो चैट बॉक्स में डाल दीजिएगा। हमारे दोनों रिसोर्स पर्सन आपको उन्हीं भाषा में देंगे। प्लीज पुट योर क्वेश्चंस इन मराठी, हिंदी और इंग्लिश in chat box. We will try to answer all the questions. I request Dr. Balaji Kendre ji to deliver his lecture and welcome to you all. Welcome Dr. Balaji Kendre. Over to Dr. Balaji Kendre. Please proceed.
Yeah, good morning everyone. And
Good morning.
at the very outset, let me thank Principal Mohan Rajmane sir and his team for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this wonderful national seminar, or we can call it as a webinar on futurology of education and society in India. I feel privileged and honored to be a part of this particular wonderful gathering. And certainly, I must mention some of you names who have been really making this event happen. And one of them is Dr. Ramchandra Vanbate, Girish Kalpana Sethi, Nadab sir, Dr. Raju Chavan, and the whole team. As we all know, we all are experiencing certain different realities because we were not exposed to such reality in the past in our lifetime. We were unaware of the nature's life or functioning or nature's functioning. So this is not the new phenomena. COVID-19 pandemic has happened, and this is not limited to any particular area, or it is not affecting any individual only, or any community only, or any individual country only, but it is affecting whole world. So it has shaken our consciousness to think about the reality, because what is the reality in the society and in the world? Change is the reality. If you believe or if you may not believe, change is the reality, and if you do not change, you will get destroyed, and that is the rule of nature. So we have to adapt with the new changes, and accordingly we have to change. So that has been said by many eminent scholars, thinkers, and educators in the past also. Our education system also changed to accommodate new changes which are happening around the world or which are happening in the society. And the new educational system should address the needs and aspirations of the people. That is what is the expected. I'm not going to comment, or I cannot criticize complete whole education system, because it is a process. Education policy, it is a process. We can't say this particular policy of National Education Policy 2020 is the final, and tomorrow itself it will bring out some changes in the society. But certainly it will help us to bring out some changes, and only after going through that experience, we can say that whether it is functioning well or it is not functioning well. That is a time of matter. So we can't now predict that what will be the outcome. But in the discussion and in the political dispensation, it has been made clear that this policy is going to change the whole education system, and it will impact and it will be really helpful to each and every individual in the society. So my topic of education is role of education in social development, critical analysis of new education policy. So I request present the one who is coordinating. Can I present my PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I will share screen, and accordingly we can. I think it is visible to you all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we must start our basic idea of education with the basic institution which is dedicatedly working in the area of education, that is Rayat Shikshan Sanstha. Rayat Shikshan Sanstha is one of the reputed and pioneering institution in the Maharashtra, which has contributed immensely for the social development in Maharashtra. So at the outset, I salute and pay respect to Honorable Padma Bhushan, Dr. Karmavir Bhaurao Patil, through whose efforts these institutions could establish and grow, and now development is taking place. So I pay my great respect to Honorable Padma Bhushan, Dr. Karmavir Bhaurao Patil, and one who established and who started this Rayat Shikshan Sanstha. And I'm also grateful to the Sadhguru Gadge Maharaj College, Karad Principal Mohan Rajmane sir and his team for organizing such wonderful national webinar on futurology of education and society in India. So I will try my level best to explain. I will try to critically look at the policy, expecting that you all have gone through that document and you are also aware of that has been that policy has been in the public domain. So with that, I will present my viewpoints and my observations about my topic, and we can have a discussion on this, and certainly after discussion and after deliberation we can finally decide whether it is a futuristic or it is a political or whatever. We can decide later on, but before that we need a thorough understanding of the policy. So we all know, because this particular policy says that we don't want to just produce the students who do not have basic understanding of concepts, because unless we are clear conceptually, we cannot discuss the issue in the society. So if we have to look at what is education, Oxford Dictionary meaning say the process of teaching. What is education? It is nothing but it is a process of teaching, training and learning. So education is nothing but it is a process. We can't say this is the particular idea is education, but it is a process of teaching, training and learning. So the aim of that particular process is to educate, and educate means again give intellectual or moral instructions. The aim of education, or how do we educate other people, through give intellectual or moral instructions. So now what is intellectual and what is moral? Again, it will take time to define it. So I have tried my level best to again define what is intellectual. Intellectual is defined as a someone or something that is rational rather than emotional. So given to activity or pursuit that require exercise of intellect. That means intellectual means your mind should get involved in it. So and it should be not only emotional. Your view should not always be emotional to look at the reality or fact, but certainly it should be rational and it should be experiential. So again, the word moral indicates teaching or exhibiting goodness or correctness of character and behavior, and that is what is intellectual and moral instructions are incorporated or view. So, from sociological perspective, when we look at the education, we consider it as a agency of socialization, because socialization is nothing but it is a learning process, and we know the basic agencies of socialization are family, neighborhood, our school, and in today's context we can call mass media is also one of the agency of education. It is not that we learn everything from the school, but we learn many things from our parents, from our family members, elder, younger, and many things we learn from neighbors also, and many things then we can learn through school and mass media also. So education is one of the process of the socialization. So, and the basic premise of education is change and development and social or human development. That means when we link education with the development, then certainly what is development? Again, development has so many definitions, so many interpretations, because somebody says ki if I get money, that is my development. Somebody thinks that if I get higher position in my department, that is development. So everyone's definition of development is really important, and it is contextual. So what is development for you may not development for me, but certainly because it is a subjective term again, and it is a contextual. So but in the broader context, when we talk about social development, social development has certain indicators like education. One should be educated, and educated means one should read, write, and think independently about any phenomena in the society or in the nature. So in that context, when we look at education as one of the indicator of human development, certainly this constitute important critical parameter of counting social development. So that is one of the indicator. Again, most important indicator is health, because since our childhood or before we get birth, we need medical views, and we need to maintain our health proper from that time to till our death. So in the changing environment, in the changing societies, our health is also one of the most important indicator of social development. So education is one of the uh, indicator of social and human development. So we can't live with education. Only thing is that in the modern society we have formal education system. In a traditional society we had an informal educational system, and our socialization was done through families, through relatives, through society, community, older people. They used to teach us many things. But in modern society, the nature of society is very complex. So our family or our own relatives cannot teach what is happening in the society. That is why we form schools as one of the modern agency of socialization.
Hello,
So
sir. Sorry for disturbance. Please put your slide in slide view. It will be more visible to the participants.
yes, it is visible now.
Just use slide show view, which is available in last line.
Press F5, sir.
Yes, yes.
Press F5. Yes.
F5. Yes, yes, yes.
Now it is visible.
Yes, 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 sir.
Okay. So it is not that ki only now we are defining what is education and what should be the aim of education, what should be the purpose of education. But it has been attempted by many scholars, great educationists, great social reformer. The role of education is eminent in the social development and for the society. So in this regard, Rabindranath Tagore says ki education for fullness in the midst of nature. That means he says ki whatever we think about education, it is not only about our society. So we should also think about the nature. So that nature, he said the main difference between again our education system should be developed in consonant with the tuning of the nature, and in today's context we call it as a weather changes and climate changes and sustainable development goal. We have to protect biodiversity. We should think about environment. That necessity of getting education system connected has been elaborated by Rabindranath Tagore in that time. So his definition of education for fullness in the midst of nature, means we cannot live in isolation, and we cannot say that nature is something different and we should not care. So that kind of relationship, humanity and nature, needs to be taken into account, and that need has been mentioned. He said the main difference between Europe and Asia is that Europe man as such has dignity not known in Asia. See the difference. He compares education system with Asia and Europe, and he says in our society we do not give dignity to the others, and that is what is there in the European society, and they could develop their societies. So to him, European society is free society, whereas society is a closed society, and he talks this in the Eastern society. He believed God dwells only in the hearts of men, and they are all but equal. Means in his term, men and women. It is not only men. So gods treat everyone equal. Just 1 minute. I'll just stop. Just sorry for 1 minute.
Hello.
Hi, yes. Sorry, sir.
Yes, 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 sir. Yes.
Disturbance.
Okay,
So,
sir.
in Rabindranath Tagore's view, the education is not isolation from the nature, from the environment, and it should not be also isolated, or it should not be discriminatory on any ground. So equality is the main motto of the education. So again, he talks about the role of educator. The ideal educator must combine in himself the gift of philosopher, a poet, a mystic, a social reformer, a scientist, and a veritable man of action, because he has to take into account all types of men and women and their aspirations, all facets of human personality, all levels of human experiences, and all field of endeavor and achievements. And he also talks about aims of education. There should be two aims of education. One is narrow aim, and another is wider aim, because he may say that narrow aim means development of personality or individuality, but educational system should not have a motto of only personality development, but that should be useful for the society. And he again thinks that the education aims at developing higher and nobler values such as justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, cooperation, righteousness, etc. And education means inculcation of these values in the minds of students. Swami Vivekananda is one of the great philosopher and educationist in Indian context. He says, what is education? Education is the manifestation of perfection already in the man, and that means he says everything is with you, but you have to develop, you have to manifest all these capacities, possibilities, and your innate capacities. So he talks education is the manifestation of perfection already in the man. And concept of education, we want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, a spirit of philanthropy, and the courage of lion is developed. It is worth the name. Real education is that which enables one to stand on one's own legs. He was also nationalist and believed in a universal brotherhood. In his view, because today's policy also talks about nationalism, and one of the motto which has been described by our Honorable Prime Minister, in our educational system, our national ethos must be reflected. And he talks about nationalism, and he explains, Swami Vivekananda explains nationalism in 2-3 points. He says nationalism means to know and appreciate the cultural heritage and glorious achievements of the nation. Second, to communicate this cultural heritage and tradition to the future generation, and to protect and enrich the cultural heritage of the nation. He realized the term because what we usually say Bharat Mata that time only, and he was the first nationalist who inspired the youth of India. He gave clarion call, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached, and each soul is potentially divine. See, these broad thoughts they gave us about our life and what we should learn and what we should share in the society, and what should be the aim and motto of the educational system. Again, one more father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi also talks about education, and he said all round driving out of the waste in the child and the man, body, mind, and soul also envisages a total education of the total man towards the perfection. So he talks about spirituality. He talks about not only physical development but mental development and spiritual development of the individual. He believed in learning by doing. He is an apostle of peace, truth, and non-violence. Gandhiji was deeply influenced by teaching of Swami Vivekananda. Again, Gandhiji was not satisfied with the medium of instruction of their time education system, which was brought in by British people, and he thought because of that medium of instruction, many people get isolated and they become illiterate, and that was the fault of that particular British system. And he also criticized that education, stating that the content of that education was very narrow, and the purpose of education was also to just help these people for administration and for colonial rule. So no nationalism developed in then system. And he again said it was impractical and dominated by examination system. And this new system again says the only examination should not be the motto of education system. He also talks about women and tried for their rights, dignity of labor, free and compulsory education, etc. Now we have one more great philosopher, one who is called as a father of social revolution in India, that is Mahatma Phule. And Mahatma Phule made some insightful observation what should be the education, and he says educationist must be truth seeker, and he found Satya Shodhak Samaj, and he says what should be the education, and if there is no education, what can happen to the society. And he narrated the importance of education through his few insightful words. That is, without education, wisdom was lost. Without wisdom, morals were lost. Without morals, development was lost. Without development, wealth was lost. Without wealth, Shudras were ruined. So much has happened through the lack of education, and he also believed and worked for the education and empowerment of women. मीन्स अगर यहाँ पे हम थोड़ा देखते हैं महात्मा फुले जी का योगदान, तो महात्मा फुले ने एक एजुकेशन के बारे में हमको एक फार्मूला दिया है, और वो फार्मूला ये कहता है कि अगर आप किसी सोसाइटी कम्युनिटी को, किसी इंडिविजुअल को अगर शिक्षा नहीं देते हैं, तो इट इज अ लॉस ऑफ सोसाइटी एंड इट इज अ लॉस ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी. सो एवरीवन शुड गेट एजुकेशन. एंड ही सेड कि विदाउट एजुकेशन, अगर शिक्षा नहीं है तो कितना ये लॉस होता है सोसाइटी को, इतना कम्युनिटी को, और विद इन अ सोसाइटी वी क्रिएट व्हेरी इनह्युमन ग्रुप्स इफ देयर इज नो एज्युकेशन. आणि म्हणून मराठीमध्ये पण त्यांनी महात्मा फुलेंनी जे म्हटलेलं आहे, विदे विना मती गेली, आणि त्याच्या संदर्भात जे शूद्र खचले आणि सगळा विकास जो त्यांचा थांबला, तर हे सूत्र अजूनही पुढच्या पिढ्यांपर्यंत चालणारं सूत्र आहे. का तर येणारी व्यवस्था अजूनही खूप विषमता आणत आहे. बऱ्याच लोकांना शिक्षण मिळत नाहीये, आणि त्याच्यामुळं नवीन आपल्याकडं असे जर पिढ्या तयार झाल्या तर आपण एका वेगळ्या समाजाकडे, विषमतेकडे ओढू शकतो. ह्याचं सूत्र हे महात्मा फुलेंनी त्यावेळेस दिलेलं आहे. तर ते पण आपण लक्षात घेणं गरजेचं आहे. आणि खरंच ही सिस्टम आलेली महात्मा फुलेंच्या विचारातून पुढे चालू शकेल का, हा प्रश्न आपल्या सगळ्यांना पडणार आहे. दॅट मीन्स वी ऑल हॅव टू थिंक अबाउट Mahatma Phule's insightful observations about education in the context of new national education policy. He is also known as a father of India's social reform, who attacked on traditional caste system, which was the base of exploitation of Shudra and Ati-Shudra communities. Next philosopher and educationist is Rajarshi Shahu Maharaj. Shahu Maharaj, he was the real democrat, and he believed in democracy, and he was a social reformer. He was the first king, or one who really give reservations to the weaker section in 1902, before our constitution came into being. He gave reservation to many weaker sections and communities who could not get the job in the government and in the bureaucracy. So that is why we call him as the father of Indian reservation system. आणि मराठीत त्यांना आपण भारतातील आरक्षणाचे जनक असंही त्यांना आपण संबोधत असतो. आणि त्यांच्या बाबतीमध्ये डॉक्टर धनंजय कीर यांनी जे मांडलेलं आहे, his greatness is described by Dr. Dhananjay Keer in the following words. He was a ruler who lightened the eternal lamp of education, shines all over the Maharashtra. आणि म्हणून आजही महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आणि इव्हन देशभरामध्ये आज आपण पाहतो की शाहू महाराजांचं जे बहुजन समाजासाठी कार्य आहे, महात्मा फुलेंचं जे बहुजन समाजासाठी कार्य आहे, ते आपल्यासाठी आयकॉन आहेत. आणि त्यांच्या विचाराचा शिक्षण व्यवस्थेवर जो आज परिणाम आहे तो प्रत्यक्षात आलेला आहे का नाही हे येणारी वेळ दाखवून देईल. सो in his firm opinion is that we shall survive only by education. History tells that no country had made progress without education. Best politicians, great warriors are not born in an illiterate country. See, this is the one of the biggest statement. Means best politicians, great warriors are not born in the illiterate country. So it is essential to give free and compulsory education to the people of India. Means you can think of the Shahu Maharaj vision. He made education free and compulsory to his subject in his kingdom in 1912, before our constitution came. So this is really wonderful history we have, and we should not forget this history and legacy. and then we can say that just new policy has come. But we have to think in this context. In the other parts of the world, what happened in Japan, clear that caste system must be abolished. It must be our aim to bring about this change. In the present condition, to achieve this aim, our first duty is to make our society educated, which will bring change in the minds. This is the only way to solve this important problem. म्हणजे शाहू महाराजांनी जे सांगितलेलं आहे की तुम्ही शिक्षणाशिवाय डेमोक्रेसी स्ट्रेंथन करू शकत नाही, आणि डेमोक्रेसी स्ट्रेंथन करायची नसेल तर तुम्हाला नवीन समाज हा बघता येणार नाही. Babasaheb Ambedkar, we all are known through his work and dedication and for the upliftment of marginalized sections of society. And his work, you can find he can be considered social reformer, educationist, constitutionalist, and architect of Constitution of India. And finally, he is an emancipator. Means his work, his vision, and his contribution is really remarkable for the Indian society. And in his view, what is the biggest problem in our Indian society is a caste, because caste does not allow open division of labor or rational division of labor. That means there is no choice for Indians to choose their occupation and choose their work. म्हणजे बाबासाहेबांचं जर बेसिक काम आपण पाहिलं, बाबासाहेबांनी सांगितलेलं आहे मुळात की जाती व्यवस्था हा एक भारतीय समाजाला लागलेली कीड आहे, रोग आहे, आणि तो जर गेला तर भारतीय समाज हा प्रोग्रेस करू शकतो, आणि त्याच्यासाठी जाती व्यवस्था जाणं गरजेचं आहे. पण जाती व्यवस्था ही एवढ्या परंपरेनं एवढ्या लोकांच्या मनामध्ये भिडलेली आहे की त्याला काढणं एवढं सोपं नाही. म्हणून बाबासाहेबांनी ते जाती, व्हॉट इज कास्ट सिस्टम, हाऊ टू अनिहिलेट इट, त्याच्यावरती आपण सेपरेट लेक्चर घेऊ शकतो. तिथं काय आता आपण त्याच्यावरती सविस्तर जास्त बोलू शकणार नाही. But we all know caste in India and its annihilation is one of the unique and what we can call a realistic agenda given by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to how to annihilate the caste system, and how if we annihilate the caste system, certainly caste system is nothing but it is an unnatural division of labor. That means there is no choice for individual. There is no skills can be acquired by the individual from different caste class which are essential for modern society. So he talks about basically division of labor, but though it is a natural, he says in India it is not a division of labor but it is a division of laborers. So even laborers cannot come together and ask for their rights, so class is not there in that system. So he advised and he gave formula to get success in the life or to the societies to progress. That is, get education, organize and agitate, and certainly fight for your rights. So education shall liberate the man was his own his idea for the society. Now I will just very briefly talk about National Policy on Education 2020. This is the first education policy of 21st century and replaces the 34-year-old National Policy on Education 1986. Built on the foundational pillars of access, equity, quality and affordability and accountability, this policy is aligned to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by making both school and college education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, suited to 21st century needs, and aims at bringing out the unique capabilities of each student. National Education Policy 2020 is most comprehensive, radical and futuristic policy document in educational history of the country. It does not recognize any barrier in the bringing quality and outcome-based education to each and everyone. It now includes children during their most foundational years, that is 3 to 5 years for their care and education. Critical thinking, experiential and application-based learning. Flexibility in learning focuses on life skill, multidisciplinary, and continuous review are some of the salient features of this policy. Bringing back 2 crore out of school and dropout children and universalization of school education from 3 years onwards reflect on our commitment to philosophy of no one to be left behind. New features introduced in this policy are such as academic bank of credits, National Research Foundation, and National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy are some of the landmark policies which will radically transform our educational ecosystem. Now I will take you to the sociological viewpoints about education. Emile Durkheim, a French sociologist, one who talked about functions of education in his work Division of Labor, and he talks about 2 functions of education. One is transmitting the shared values of society and simultaneously teaching the specialized skill for economy based on specialized division of labor. He believed that schools were one of the few institutions uniquely poised to assist with the tradition from traditional society based on mechanical face-to-face solidarity to modern society, which was much larger in scale and based on organic solidarity. Emile Durkheim also talks about some, if any society is making progress or changing from traditional to modern, it is the responsibility of the school system to develop some sort of homogeneity among its members so that they can say that, oh, there is a change, but we believe in certain common values, we believe in certain common reality, and that is what he projected. Second important theoretician in this with regard to education policy is Pierre Bourdieu. He talks about education as cultural reproduction. Education as a cultural reproduction. In his view, the major role of education system is cultural reproduction. This is the reproduction of the culture of the dominant classes. The educational attainment of social group is therefore directly related to the amount of cultural capital they possess. There is a hidden curriculum, he talks, because it is not that you just go to school and you will get success, but there is a hidden curriculum to get success in the education system, and that hidden curriculum is nothing but it is a cultural capital. This refers to socialization aspect of education process through which adolescent acquires appropriate attitudes and values needed further succeed within the confines of the education system. So basically, Pierre Bourdieu talks about hidden curriculum. Hidden curriculum means if somebody is coming from slum area, if somebody is from rural area, their language is different. And what we teach in the school and in the university, if we teach them in the English medium, they don't have that language skill. So they think that, oh, whatever English is not comparable. And we all experiences discrimination based on cultural reproduction. म्हणजे थोडक्यात सांगायचं म्हणजे की शिक्षण व्यवस्था जरी तीच असली तरी जे मुलं किंवा जे विद्यार्थी गरीब फॅमिलीमधनं येतात, ग्रामीण भागातनं येतात, अशिक्षित फॅमिलीतनं येतात, ह्या मुलांना ह्या शिक्षण व्यवस्थेमध्ये टिकणं एवढं सोपं नाहीये. कारण काय होतं की बऱ्याच वेळा आपण असं होतं की नेट सेट पास होतो, कॉलेजला अर्ज करतो, ठीक आहे, तिथं नोकरी मिळते, पण ज्यावेळेस एखादं प्रेझेंटेशन द्यायची वेळ येते त्यावेळेस आपण म्हणतो की अरे फक्त त्याला एखाद्याला बाजूला आपण का करतो, त्याची भाषा चांगली नाही. आता मला सांगा, भाषा काय आपण औषधं घेतल्यासारखं घेऊ शकतो का? आता ग्रामीण भागातनं एखादा विद्यार्थी जर आला तर त्याला तिथं इंग्लिश मिडियमचं शिक्षणच मिळालेलं नसतं, किंवा एखादा गरीब विद्यार्थी आहे त्याला ते लँग्वेज स्किलच मिळालेले नसतात, पण त्याला ते आयुष्यभर हँडिकॅप राहावं लागतं त्याच्यामुळे. आणि म्हणून ज्यांच्याकडे कल्चर कॅपिटल आहे, ज्याच्या घरातच ती भाषा बोलली जाते, ज्याच्या घरामध्ये एज्युकेटेड लोक आहेत, असे लोकांकडे ते कॅपिटल असतं. आणि ह्या हिडन करिक्युलम जो आहे हा इश्यू आपल्या पॉलिसीमध्ये ऍड्रेस होणं गरजेचं आहे. म्हणजे तुम्ही पहा की आपण पीएचडी झालेले लोक शिपायाच्या जॉबला अर्ज करतात आणि काही लोक वयाच्या 23व्या वर्षी डायरेक्ट कलेक्टर होतात. मग विद्यार्थ्याचा दोष आहे का शिक्षण व्यवस्थेचा दोष आहे? तर असे काही क्रिटिकल प्रश्न हे आपल्या मनामध्ये येणं साहजिक आहे. आणि ते कल्चरल कॅपिटल सगळ्यांना मिळत नाही, म्हणून शिक्षण व्यवस्था कुठलीही आली तर काही लोकांनाच त्याचा फायदा होतो, काही लोकांना होत नाही, आतापर्यंत सत्य आहे. दॅट मीन्स एनी एज्युकेशन system is not always beneficial for all the sections of society. So I urge to the policy makers, we should give special attention to marginalized group, weaker section, poor people, and those who are vulnerable, and special care should be taken, and then only they can participate fully in the system. So with this, I once again thank you, organizer, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this national webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We are very thankful to you. मैं सबको रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ सर के लेक्चर पे कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो आप फिर चैट बॉक्स में डाल दीजिएगा। और कई लोग फीडबैक लिंक के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं, वो आपको 12:55 को मिल जाएगा। प्लीज वेट फॉर फीडबैक टिल 12:55। नाउ आई रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर चेतना सोनकामरे जी to proceed her subject and deliver a lecture. Her subject is changing perspectives of education with relevance to National Education Policy 2020. Welcome, Dr. Chetna Madam. I am very thankful to her and she is here with us. Over to Dr. Chetna Madam. मैं आपकी सबकी तरफ से डॉक्टर चेतना मैडम को रिक्वेस्ट दरख्वास्त करता हूं कि आप अपने सब्जेक्ट पे स्पीच डिलीवर करें। डॉक्टर चेतना जी।
Ma'am, please unmute your mic. Just
येते आवाज?
Yes, yes.
yes, ma'am.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vanbatte sir, and the organizing team. Good afternoon, one and all, respected dignitaries on the dais, respected Dr. Mohan Rajmane, principal and convener of the webinar. So just one sec. Sir, am I visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. You are visible.
Okay. Okay, fine, sir. Dr. Mohan Rajmane, principal and convener of the webinar. Professor Babasaheb Nadaf, HOD of Department of Sociology. Dr. Vanbatte, HOD Department of Education. Dr. Balaji Kendre, the prior resource person, Professor and Head Department of Sociology, University of Mumbai. Dr. Gilish Kalyan Shetty, Coordinator IQAC. All other dear participants and all over dear participants from India, as well as delegates participant from abroad also. And all the team, organizing team of Sadhguru Garge Maharaj College, Karad. Today I'm here to speak on changing perspectives of education with relevance to National Education Policy 2020. I would like to focus on that as we know that education has always been an important place in the society, in Indian society. The great leaders of the Indian freedom movement realized the fundamental role of education and throughout the nation's struggle for independence stressed its unique significance for national development. Immediately after independence, as we see, a major concern of the government of India and of the states has been to increase attention towards education as a factor vital to national progress and security. But what happened simultaneously, it was also visible that the success rate of this objective was not sufficient and many problems prevailed at both levels, policy as well as practical. Problems of educational reconstruction were reviewed by several commissions and committees. Notably, the University Education Commission 1948-49 and the Secondary Education Commission 1952-53. Some steps to implement the recommendations of these commissions were taken. And with the passing of the resolution on scientific policy under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, the development of science, technology, and scientific research received special emphasis. Towards the end of the third five-year plan, a need was felt to hold a comprehensive review of the educational system with a view to initiate a fresh and more determined efforts at educational reconstruction. And then the Education Commission 1964-66 was appointed to advise the government on the national pattern of education and on the general principles and policies for the development of education at all stages and in all aspects. The report of the Education Commission, as we all know, has since been widely discussed with and commented upon. Detailed analysis, like the government was happy to note that a consensus on the national policy on education has emerged in the course of these discussions. Based on the report of the recommendations of the Education Commission 1964-66, the first national education policy on education was announced in 1968, which was a radical restructuring and equalize educational opportunities in order to achieve national integration and greater cultural and economic development. The policy called for fulfilling compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14, as stipulated by the Constitution of India, and the better training and qualification of the teachers. The policy called for focus on learning of regional language, outlining the three language formula to be implemented in the secondary education. Language education was seen as an essential to reduce the gulf between the intelligentsia and the masses. The policy also encouraged the teaching of the ancient Sanskrit language, which was considered as an essential part of India's culture and heritage. The National Policy of Education of 1968 called for the education spending to increase to 6% of the national income. According to that 1968 policy, the principles which were based on based on the principles of free and compulsory education up to the age of 14. Steps should be taken to ensure that the child enrolled in the school should successfully complete the course. Education for teachers, then language development, education opportunity for all, uniform education structure to review the progress. Then the National Education Commission on Teachers in 1983-85 is an important commission as far as school education is concerned. The National Commission on Teachers 1983-85 has emphasized the role of teachers in nation building. Though there are many commissions after independence that recognized the role of the teacher in nation's development. The National Commission on Teachers has discussed it more extensively. The main focus of the commission was on the three aspects, particularly NCT 1983-85, measures to give the teacher the status he needs and deserves to help him. Then evolution of a system of teacher preparation that would help the teacher develop skills. To indicate the broad parameters of a code of conduct which would motivate all the teachers give his best performance of his duties. And all these things were reported along with the overall task before the National Knowledge Commission is to take steps that will give India the knowledge edge in the coming decades. That is to ensure that a country becomes a leader in the creation, application, and dissemination of knowledge. NKC believes that knowledge concepts are organized, distributed, and transmitted through the education system. Education is a potent force for any developing state. It encourages individuals to think independently, make better informed decisions, keep abreast of important issues and trends of the local and national level, question existing socio-economic arrangements in a manner that leads to innovation, change, and development. Now, there were various focus areas on which NKC worked and presented their report. The first one was access to knowledge, second one was knowledge concepts, third was knowledge creation, fourth was knowledge application, and fifth was knowledge service. This was based on technology has the potential to make government services and functioning more accountable, transparent, and efficient. E-governance can change the way in which the citizens of India perceive and interact with the government. So all this we see in the changing perspectives when we see to the National Education Policy 2020. I would like to focus on another aspect, that is the National Policy of Education 1986. As we see that the approach adopted by the Union government of formulation of National Policy on Education 1986 is different on many counts. Before the formulation, the Prime Minister of India in a national broadcast expressed the desire for a national debate on education and asked the academy, community, and other interested to give their suggestions in formulating a national policy on education. He also formally expressed his views at various official conferences. Consequent to the Prime Minister's appeal, the Union Education Ministry published a document, The Challenge of Education, a Policy Perspective 1985. Challenges of Education of a Policy Perspective 1985 was in 4 divisions: education, society, and development, and overview of educational development, critical appraisal, as well as social approach to educational orientation. We see that the document states that India is standing in the threshold of 21st century to prepare the present generation to face with unprecedented opportunities, challenges. To make the nation a dynamic and cohesive one, it is necessary to reshape the system. Education should make self-confident individuals with commitment of democratic and national values. It also should reduce all types of disparities and act in an investment in human resource development. It has a large role in all national endeavors in democratic societies. This can be achieved only by modernizing education, changing curricula, and other basic changes in teachers' training. So, higher education provides ideas and men to give shape the future. Sustain all other levels of education provides historical, ideological perspective to society, supplies a wide range of sophisticated manpower required in industry, agriculture, services, and administration. Apart from that, we can also focus on that how the educational development was lacking, or how the educational development took place critically. I would like to focus that changing values is identified between 2 formidable tasks for coping with the challenges. One of providing quality education to all the developed his fullest potential, and the other of simultaneously transferring the context and process of education to meet the emerging needs of tomorrow. It says that education, with all its remancification, cannot be altered materially unless the overall socio-political systems require such alterations for its survival. It suggests that the provision of minimum outlays required for achieving the constitutional goals in respect of elementary education should be regarded as a national responsibility. The terms of allocation of resources between the center and state should not be allowed to cloud the issue. It also suggests community involvement in the school system. The document suggests a common core curriculum with some flexibility to include regional variations and culturally is necessary to ensure quality, national cohesion, and inter-religion mobility. Non-formal education should be accorded priority to universalizing of elementary education. It also recognizes the importance of adult literacy. It observed a phenomenal expansion in secondary education and called for carefully planning. It also observed the urban bias of scientific and technology professions. It advocated pace-setting schools with the provision of reservations for the students of rural areas to ensure quality education. Now, looking at this new education policy, I would like to focus on some aspects. Sorry. I would like to focus on that aspect regarding that, as you all know, that some of the salient features of 2020, NEP 2020, recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. Then, according to the highest priority to achieving foundational literacy and numeracy, flexibility, then no hard separations, flexibility to the learners, no hard separations, multidisciplinarity, and a holistic education across the sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports of a multidisciplinary world in order to ensure the unity and integrity of all knowledge. Emphasis on conceptual understanding, then creativity and critical thinking, ethics of human and constitutional values. Then it is also mentioned promoting multilingualism and the power of language in teaching and learning. Life skills, focus on regular formative assessment for learning rather than the summative assessment. Extensive use of technology, respect for diversity and respect for local context, full equity and inclusion, then synergy in curriculum across all levels of education from early childhood, care and education to school education to higher education. Teachers and faculty as the heart of the learning process. Then light but tight regulatory framework to ensure integrity, transparency, outstanding research, continuous review, rootedness and pride in India, education in a public service, substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public education. As we all know, the vision of this policy, but still I want to focus that the curriculum and pedagogy of institution must develop deep sense of respect towards the fundamental duties and constitutional values, bonding with one's country and a consciousness, awareness of one's responsibilities in a changing world. I will just share. Now the few of the aspects or which I want to highlight is that the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 pattern, the 10 plus 2 has been restructured, has been structure of school curriculum is replaced to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Then schooling from 3 years. Then in concern with ECCE, then promoting libraries, teaching up to the class 5th in the mother tongue, languages, regional languages, creating Bal Bhavans. I would focus and then I will relate all those things, that what exactly has been or what is happening behind the making of this policy or framing up of this policy 2020. Academic bank of credit, and then multiple entry and exit points in higher education, and affiliation of colleges with the phased out in 15 years, a stage wise mechanism. By 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree, easing of board examination, changes in the report card, then foreign universities in India, and EP ends, science, commerce, art streams, the National Educational Technology Forum for a common entrance exam for colleges and admissions. So after that, as we all know, just one sec. I would like to share this. My window is not visible. Uh, 1 sec, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Just 1 sec, sir. 1 sec.
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine. If it is not being shared or it is not compatible with this sharing. Okay, fine. Fine, so I'll deliver like that only. So regarding this education, what I would like to focus is that education is not learning of facts. All this I have given you as of in the format of changing perspectives, that what happened from the era of 1986 policy, or like prior policies which were framed, and now what exactly education is not learning of facts but training of mind. And NEP 2020 should achieve all these things. For example, history is witness to the fact that all the developed countries have ensured that the medium of instruction in their countries in their own native language, mother tongue. It is high time we accept the reality and we have to move. The education sector has to transform itself to cope with the requirements of emerging knowledge economy. Recently, the new education policy was announced, and which undoubtedly during the past 3 decades we have witnessed monumental changes in the field of information and communication technology. This has totally transformed our way of living, sharing of knowledge, content creation, and its dissemination and whatnot simultaneously. Our country's economy also have changed to become more service oriented, with contribution of the service sector to our GDP increasing to more than half. Certainly, the education sector has to transform itself to cope with the requirements of an emerging knowledge economy. There are many new ideas incorporated in the new education policy, which are essential to make our educational system more holistic and flexible. The idea of a credit-based system is not new, but unfortunately, earlier attempts made in this regard could not bring the desired results. It is hoped that this time around the government will ensure its implementation as the earliest. Similarly, the universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio making the bachelor's program multidisciplinary in nature, and doing away the rigid separation between arts and science was long overdue, and is a very welcome step. One of the most recommendations made in the important recommendations made in the new policy is that teaching up to at least grade 5 is to be in the mother tongue regional language. There are several arguments being advanced against the recommendations by experts. Some argue that the new education policy should have shown the courage to argue the English medium education from primary school onwards. Others argue that the recommendations goes against the Apex Court verdict of 2014, stating that the imposition of the mother tongue as the medium of instructions of primary classes is unconstitutional. The debate regarding the medium of instruction in a school have been raging for the past several decades. Mahatma Gandhi has been very insistent from the beginning that medium of instruction cannot be other than vernacular. Gandhiji wrote, "In my opinion, this is not a question to be decided by academicians. They cannot decide throughout what language the boys and girls of a place are to be educated. That question is already decided from them in every free country. Nor can they decide the subjects to be taught. That depends upon the wants of the country to which they belong. There is a privilege of enforcing the nations will be the best manner possible when this country becomes really free. The question of medium will be settled only one way. The academicians will frame the syllabus and prepare textbooks accordingly. So long as the educated classes play with this question, I am very much fear we shall not produce the free and healthy Indian India of our dream. So that was the concept of Mahatma Gandhi. Then I would like to focus on that about this policy, that there can be little doubt that in campuses across the country today, among the issues that attract attention are major issues in the privatization of education. Recently, in the deliberations, the People's Commission of Shrinking Democratic Space prioritized privatization of education as a leading issue. Then we have observed through depositions made by students, teachers, and experts that there is a systematic onslaught on the very idea of the education, on the idea of higher education in India. The recent decision by the Ministry of MHRD to grant autonomy to public institutions is an example of how to state in seeking to ensure that students from poor and backward communities are driven to the periphery and denied access to equal quality and affordable education. Regarding this, I would like to focus on that there are some loopholes, or like I would like to focus on that there are some points which can be focused in because rural India is not taken into consideration while framing the policy. Online education for primary school children. What about the people of archival rural India? NSSO, National Sample Survey Organization, has done a survey in which it was found that computer is being, that people who are having the computer are only 2 to 3%, then with internet facility, 10 to 11% of the whole population, and students belonging to 16 years, less students are having the this thing, smartphones, and that too the girls from 12 to 13 age groups have to rely on their brother's Android cell. So this is the position of India, and so that should be taken into consideration. And in India, the media to focus on event and not the process that precedes the event. For instance, they report event such as a student suicide brought about by unaffordable fees, but not the formation of the policy in the respect of the fees. Professional specialization in a particular area is not possible due to the low budget that constrains newspaper. Therefore, reporting is limited to a few incidents that attract public attention. Hence, there is an unaddressed need for an analysis of long-run trends in policy making. To begin with, let us address the issue of privatization of education under the present regime. For that, I would like to focus on that. All these things, there is one place in Karnataka. As we all know that Karnataka is also famous and is known as Silicon Valley. But there also 2% of the population in that village is having or producing computer. They are having in their rural area. Now, what is happening that socially excluded, the persons or the people who were coming or who were from the marginalized group, socially excluded, we people call them as, those people now will be educationally excluded also. So digital divide is going to change in digital partition now, and that too in the boundaries, with the boundaries. We need to have digital democracy through the framework of justice. This is not going to happen in the budget. If we increase the budget with 2 crores also, it is not going to happen, because nowadays online, because of this pandemic, we are watching in everyone's home that online teaching is being going on, and the media is supporting to these BYJU'S and such type of softwares which are being used for the giving of education. See the record of the BYJU'S in last 12 months, and especially in the last 3 months, it has been doubled. If you might have observed, it is being permitted as a learning platform. As it goes, lots of revenue through advertisers, because lots of revenue is being generated, and through advertise of that BYJU'S, media is been benefited, and as a whole government is benefited of that. If they create any such learning platforms for Adivasis and other marginalized group, their parents and those their teachers, they as they know that they are not going to make money out of it. किसी को अगर फोकस करते हैं एक आदिवासी बच्चे को या तो आदिवासी या तो दलित फैमिली को कि इनके घर में ऐसे ऐसे है या तो ऐसे इस तरह से इनको शिक्षा दी जा रही है या तो शिक्षा ली नहीं जा रही, तो दिस इज नॉट गोइंग टू पे एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू to these media people. So they are not promoting these Adivasi people, but they are promoting Byju's, and 100% private universities are invited in this NPE. अभी इसका एक उदाहरण के तौर पर मैं देना चाहूंगी कि जब अपने पास इतना सब जरिया है, like for example in droughted area we take the yield of sugarcane. As you know that it needs more water. ड्रॉट जहां पर है वहां पर आप शुगर केन का अगर ये फार्मिंग करोगे या तो वहां पर उगाओगे तो वहां पर जो ड्रॉट के एरिया में पानी लोगों को ही पीना पॉसिबल नहीं है, तो उगाने के लिए पानी हम कहाँ से ला सकते हैं. बट लाइक if we go for the option of jawar in native land of Marathwada, it will grow faster and with less water, but we are not thinking in that aspect. मतलब मेरे बोलने का कहने का मतलब ये है कि जैसे जहां पर जो उगता है उसको सपोर्ट करने की बजाय हम अगर शुगर केन का ड्रॉटेड एरिया में शुगर केन का लेंगे तो वहां से लोगों को पानी तक नहीं मिलेगा, एंड that will hamper the life over people over there who are residing in that droughted area. Honor constitution and evolve sensitive rooted policy in state investment and not private investment. National education system can't do justice to education of downtrodden. Design of policy is for corporate framework. If you see, अभी आप देख रहे हो तो पॉलिसी का जो हम उसको क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर रहे, बट लाइक ये जो चीज है पॉलिसी में जो दिखाई दे रही है हम लोगों को, तो वो डाउनट्रॉडन्स के लिए यहाँ पर बहुत कम तरीके से दिखाई दे रहा है. और फ्रेमवर्क जो बनाई गई है तो ये डाउनट्रॉडन्स को सेंटर में रखते हुए नहीं बनाई गई है, तो इसको पेरिफेरी में रखा गया है. पेरिफेरी में रखा गया है मतलब उनका एजुकेशन फर्स्ट लेवल पे छूट भी गया तो वो छूट ही जाएगा. 30 to 40 और लाइक 50 इयर्स हम देख रहे हैं अभी इंडिपेंडेंस मिलने के बाद, उसके बाद भी वी कैन से दैट दलित एंड आदिवासीज हैव डन एडवांसेस. अभी हम देख रहे हैं कि समाज में इस तरह की प्रगति हो गई है, लाइक दे हैव रेज्ड. बहुत ज्यादा एडवांसेस नहीं हुए हैं, बट मेजर एडवांसेस दे हैव डन इन देयर एकेडमिक्स और लाइक एजुकेशन में बहुत सारा एडवांसमेंट उन्होंने किया है. बट इसकी वजह से क्या हो गया, उनको पेरिफेरी में रखने की वजह से जो एडवांसमेंट उन्होंने शिक्षा के द्वारा प्राप्त की थी वो उसको सेटबैक मिलने वाला है. अगर ये इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किया गया तो उसको सेटबैक मिलने वाला है और कई साल फिर से वो दोबारा वापस पीछे हट उनकी हो सकती है. जैसे कि हमने देखा है कि इट इज बीइंग फाउंड इन आई एम गिविंग द रेफरेंस ऑफ दैट पी साईनाथ ऑन 2nd of 2014 he has written regarding rural India's diversity is well known, yet the fact that more than 833 million people living in Indians villages speak over 780 languages and use 86 different scripts should have make us pause to cultural vastness of an India. We urbanities know that so little about it. We know little of and care less about rural people, their lives and challenges they face. Now Pari allows us to hear directly from the rural people about the many facets of their lives, their languages, their culture, work, traditions, access to school, hospitals and other facilities, and the skill they possess, many of which are rapidly disappearing. The money that is being made through online education, most of the students are not liking nowadays, because what is happening, it is an alienation of the socialization. One survey was conducted at Talashri in Adivasi district. One of the 9-year student was asked that do you like to work on the smartphone? So what was his thought, or what was his answer to the surveyor? That he said that there is no fun in using this, and we people don't even afford all these things because these people unka earning kitna hota hai. तो उनका कहना ऐसे है कि ये हमको सोशलाइजेशन से काफी दूर लेकर जा रहा है और हमको जो है वी आर राइजिंग और लाइक राइजिंग बच्चों की कैसे हो रही है, जैसे अदरवाइज राइजिंग ऑन द अदरवाइज क्लास एंड जेंडर बेस्ड हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू अफेक्ट ना। अगर हम शुगर केन के फैक्ट्रीज और शुगर केन के ये जो उसमें काम करते हैं तो उनका हम देखेंगे तो इट फोकसेस ऑन लाइक उनका रोजमर्रा का उनका अर्निंग कितना होता है एंड लाइक पैकेजेस का हम देखेंगे तो जैसे अभी नाउ द एजुकेशन विच इज बीइंग गोइंग ऑन एंड्रॉइड सेल्स, हम ये एंड्रॉइड सेल जेंडर एंड कास्ट एंड इसके बेसिस पर जो हम थॉट लेंगे तो इसका कैसे है कि ग्रामीण इलाके में या तो इन रूरल एरियाज ऑफ इंडिया इट इज फाउंड दैट 200 रुपीज का एक पैकेज उनको मिलेगा, देन 2 GB ऑफ डेटा फॉर एवरी मंथ। इनका इनकम सोर्स कितना होता है उनके इनकम सोर्स के हिसाब से, एंड दैट टू वन ऑफ द फेलो हु इज अ बॉय इन द फैमिली, ही विल ओनली प्रोड्यूस दैट एंड्रॉइड सेल, और ये एंड्रॉइड सेल वो प्रोड्यूस करेगा तो वो कहीं ना कहीं बाहर रहेगा। एट दैट टाइम if one of his sister wants to have or wants to make use of that particular this thing Android cell, she will have to wait for that. So gender aspect is also very important in this and so that in this policy this thing, and so that should be also taken into consideration regarding this rural education or education for this marginalized group. So few of the immediate while winding up, few of the immediate changes we have to need is that immediate rote learning. We have progressed with time, however, we still have not been able to move away from rote learning. While we know that IB schools are changing their educational system at the level, but also need to understand that the population that goes the IB school is very limited. Not everyone can afford the educational system that they offer. Hence, the government needs to take the baton of their hands and eradicate rote learning from the schools at all the levels. The school must be encouraged to introduce conceptual learning, which avoids students to mug up what they are being taught. While this will help students to understand the concept better, they will also be able to retain and apply them better. Evaluation system has to be changed. Marks still continue to play the most important card in deciding the future of children, and this often comes down upon students as burdening factor. The pressure of marks often makes students underperform. Instead of that, focusing the evaluation on a 3-hour exam, the focus of evaluation should be classroom participation by a student, project communication and leadership skills, and extracurricular activities. Equal respect to all the subjects. We continue to survive in the educational system where science stream topples the stream hierarchy. Students are pushed to become a machine which only goes for high profile subject, and subject like languages, communication, arts are looked down and are considered high profile. Students should rather be pushed to pursue the subject that they like instead of creating a differentiation between subjects. Another point is better training for educators. Teachers play the most important role in schools, and hence they should be given the best class of training. Best class training. After all, they are shaping the future of the nation. The children, teachers are often nation and the children. Teachers are often considered as second parents. Thus, they should be imparted their training in a way that they can act as parents to the children away from their homes. While teaching, they should create a congenial and home-like atmosphere where students can feel the empathy and love in the classroom, and which can be reflected in their behaviors. Introduction to the technology. We all know that we have incepted in the era of the 4th industrial revolution. We are living the renaissance of the technology, and in such a state, technology and education system cannot be kept apart. Students must be taught about technology right from the early years of their education so that it does not come like an alien things in their later times. Indian schools must embrace technology and education with an open heart and propagate the same to the students as it is there where their future lies. Personalized education. In this, I would like to focus on the Indian education needs to realize that the absorption power of every student cannot be the same. Hence, the teaching methods also cannot remain the same for every student in a class of 30. Some students have faster learning pace, and some are learning pace, and some are slow. Teachers must have a keen eye on observing each of their students. While it is not humanly possible for a single teacher to pay attention to every student, school must start looking at the use of the technologies like artificial intelligence and chatbots, for who can become the helping hand of the teachers as well as students. Teach them the purpose of education. Our education system is still having the features what colonial educators inbuilt. Education is not always about becoming a big, rich person. It should be about humanism. Students must also be taught in depth about the morals of life and inculcated with the humanistic values. They should be taught that life is much beyond money and success is not measured in money. If the Indian education system starts taking these points into serious consideration, we can attain the level of the best education system in the world. It is high that we as a country start taking education about the mediocre level that we have been ingrained with and perceive education from the holistic approach. So this is what I will end with, that education system should be should focus on the rural area or rural India more, and like they should strengthen, and they should first of all give the importance to the values and humanistic approach. So with this, I would like to end with my talk. Thank you so much to the organizing committee, to the organizing team, to the Institute of Satara, SGM Institute of SGM Institute, and in the collaboration of Sociology Department and Education and IQUAC, they have organized a very beautiful webinar in this pandemic. So I'm very much thankful to the organizing committee, to the principal, to the convener, and to the whole of the organizing team. And thank you all the participants for giving me a patience listening. Thank you so much.
आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह से ये नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी पे स्टेटमेंट दिया. There are so many questions in chat boxes, both in Zoom and YouTube Live. There are some, we have collected only 3 questions for you both due to the span of time. There is one question: what will be the effect of structure, education structure, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4? That's the question for ma'am. What will be the effect? What do you think?
What will be the effect of 5 plus 3 plus?
That a present structure is changed. That first and second standard is joined to primary, and it is changed now structure. Then what do you think about this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And another one question.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about the changing structure?
Sir, I'm audible or not?
Yes, yes, yes.
Are you listening?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. What do you think about that, the present education structure and new structure?
Yes, yes. Regarding this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curriculum structure corresponding to the ages of 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, and 14 years to 18 respectively, it will include the 12 years of schooling and 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling. So regarding that, I would like to focus that on foundation literacy and numeracy by the Education Ministry. it will for attaining universal foundation literacy and numeracy in all schools of all learners by grade 3 it will be possible till 2025 it will be possible for achieving all these things. So regarding that, grades 3, 5 and 8 which will be conducted by the appropriate authority. So as we focus that this will be an holistic approach regarding the standard of setting body, seems to be from my point of view.
Right, thank you, madam.
Yes, sir.
The question was answered well. Now, from Vishwanath Reddy, there is one question. What is the difference between new and old education policy?
What is the difference between
New and old education policy. What do you think
one
about
sector?
it?
Yes. Like what I would like to focus that in old education policy, it was focusing on the human rights. The education was given from the human rights of point of view, and now the new education policy is only meant for the corporate sectors. It is being framed from the point of view of corporate sectors, and rural India is being not that much focused. That is the main change in this these two policies, earlier one and new one.
Okay. Thank you, madam. There is one question. NEP स्वीकारण्यास समाज कसा तयार होणार? केंद्रीय सरना हा प्रश्न आहे. केंद्रीय सर नमस्ते.
नमस्ते. काय प्रश्न परत एकदा विचारा.
NEP नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी स्वीकारण्यास समाज कसा तयार होणार किंवा कसं तयार करायचा हा प्रश्न.
मुळात
समाजाची मानसिकता एक व्हायला पाहिजे.
येस, बरोबर आहे. आणि आपल्याला एक इतिहास आहे. इतिहासात आपले आदर्श घडवलेले आपण पाहत असतो. हे महात्मा फुले आहेत, त्याच्यानंतर शाहू महाराज आहेत, बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर आहेत, आणि इवन त्यांचे विचार अजूनही ग्रासरूटला गेलेले नसताना जी ही पॉलिसी आपण एसी मध्ये बसून राजकीय सिस्टमनी तयार केलेली जी ही पॉलिसी आहे, त्याच्यात कॉर्पोरेटची मदत नक्कीच घेतलेली आहे. तर ही पॉलिसी ग्रासरूटला पोहोचण्यासाठी खूप वेळ लागेल. पोहोचेल का नाही हे पण सांगता येणार नाही, का तर कुठलीच इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर ग्रासरूटला आपली तयार नाही. तुम्ही पहा की आपलं जे 2001 ला IT पॉलिसी आली, इन्फॉर्मेशन टेक्नॉलॉजी पॉलिसी आली, त्याच्यानंतर डिजिटलचे जे टीचिंग वगैरे आहे त्याच्याबद्दल भरपूर चर्चा झालेली आहे. सगळीकडे कॉर्पोरेट स्कूल, युनिव्हर्सिटीमध्ये हे पूर्वीपासून वापरलं जात आहे की जे आज आपण वापरतो ते. पण ग्रामीण भागात जिथं मुळात प्रश्न जगण्याचे आहेत, जिथं तुम्हाला बेसिक जेवणाचा प्रश्न आहे, तिथं तुम्ही इलेक्ट्रिसिटीचे प्रश्न आहेत की जिथं लाईटच नाही तिथं तुम्ही टेक्नॉलॉजी घेऊन कसं जाता. आणि सगळ्यात महत्वाचा प्रश्न म्हणजे की आज आपला इंडियन सोसायटीमध्ये 30% लोक हे दारिद्र्य रेषेखाली आहेत. दारिद्र्य म्हणजे दुसरं तिसरं काही नसून हिंसा आहे, गुलामगिरी आहे. आणि ही गुलामगिरी आणि हिंसा असणाऱ्या समाजात तुम्ही एखादी गोष्ट घेऊन गेला तर त्याचे दोन पैलू उघड होतात. एक तर त्याचा प्रचंड मिसयूज होतो किंवा ते अंडर युटिलाइज्ड होत असतं. जरी नेऊन टाकलं तिथं, आता तुम्ही जर एखाद्या शाळेला कम्प्युटर दिला, तुम्हाला माहिती आहे कम्प्युटरला ते अपडेट लागतो, अँटीव्हायरस लागतो, रोजच्या रोज त्याचे चालवावं लागतं, त्याचं मेंटेनन्स करावं लागतो. त्या शाळेला वर्षभर लाईटच नसते, तो कम्प्युटर तिथंच खराब होऊन जातो. म्हणजे ही परिस्थिती जर आज आपली असेल तर या अगोदर आपण मान्य करायला पाहिजे की स्कूल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर ग्रामीण भागात, ट्रायबल एरियात आणि इव्हन काही शहरी भागात सुद्धा व्यवस्थित नाहीये. आहे तीच. आता याच्यात बदल करायचा म्हणजे खूप मोठी इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर लागणार आहे आणि ही इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर फक्त प्रायव्हेट सेक्टर देऊ शकतं. प्रायव्हेट सेक्टर जमिनी घेऊ शकतं, प्रायव्हेट सेक्टर ऑफिस बांधू शकतं, प्रायव्हेट सेक्टर कुणाची तर अपॉइंटमेंट करून त्याला अर्धा पगार देऊन काम करून घेऊ शकतं. आणि हे सरकारनं करायचं म्हटलं तर तुम्हाला माहिती आहे सरकारला एवढं सोपं नाही. म्हणून की हे विचार म्हणजे फुले शाहू आंबेडकरांचे विचार ग्रामीण भागात अजून तिकडं न पोहोचल्यामुळं म्हणजे आजही तुम्ही पहा की अॅट्रॉसिटीच्या केसेस आहेत, अनटचेबिलिटी आहे, वुमेनचे डोमेस्टिक व्हायोलन्सच्या केसेस भरपूर वाढलेल्या आहेत. आजही तुम्ही ग्रामीण भागात जाऊन पहा, जरी आपण इकडं बसून पुरोगामी म्हणत असलो तर चाइल्ड मॅरेजेस खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणावर होत आहेत आपल्या समाजात. आणि तुम्ही फक्त दरवर्षी 10वी-12वीचा रिझल्ट लागलेल्या खेड्यातनं आलेल्या 80% वर टक्के पडलेल्या मुलींचे लग्न 10वीलाच होऊन जातात. त्याचा रिझल्ट येण्याच्या आधी लग्न करून टाकतात. मग आता हे कधी पोहोचणार, कुणाच्या बेनिफिटसाठी होणार, काही एक नवीन सिस्टम आणून नवीन आपली आपली व्यवस्था तयार करायचं हे आहे, हे प्रश्न येणारा काळ ठरवणार. म्हणून फुले शाहू आंबेडकर चळवळीतल्या कार्यकर्त्यांना मला सांगायची गरज नाही. ते रोज त्याच्यात लढतात, ते जगतात त्याच्यात, त्यांना वास्तव माहिती आहे आणि समाजाची स्थिती काय आहे हे आपल्याला कळत असते. पण ह्याच्यातनं खूप काही ग्रामीण आणि मार्जिनलाइज सेक्टरला लगेच फायदा होईल असं चित्र दिसणार नाही. तर त्याचे खूप प्रॉब्लेम आहेत. आणि तुम्ही पहा की अजूनही शिक्षण व्यवस्थेत उच्च पदस्थ सगळे मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटीचं खूप रिप्रेझेंटेशन कमी आहे. आणि त्याच्यामुळं की हे विचार जाऊन त्याच्यातनं बेनिफिट होईल याला वेळ लागेल. पण ऑन डॉक्युमेंट आपण चांगलंच आहे म्हणायला पाहिजे. आता खूप चांगले शब्द लिहिलेले आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये, खूप सूत्र मांडलेले आहेत.
ग्लोरीफाय केलंय.
एक आपण शिक्षित म्हणून ते म्हणतील तुम्हाला ते वाचलं का तुम्ही, म्हणून आपल्याला प्रश्न विचारायला नको. म्हणून आपण एक बोलायला पाहिजे की पॉलिसी डॉक्युमेंट खूप चांगलं केलेलं आहे.
In written, it is very nice.
आणि त्याच्यामुळं त्याचं आउटकम जो आहे तो काळ ठरवणार किंवा कोणीच सांगू शकत नाही आज इथं बसून. पण असं मागचा अनुभव लक्षात घेता, आपल्या समाजातली विषमता लक्षात घेता, आपल्या समाजातली प्रचंड आर्थिक सामाजिक विषमता लक्षात घेता ह्याचा काय खूप फायदा होईल असं नाही. पण काळाप्रमाणे बदलणं पण गरजेचं आहे. तसं पॉलिटिकल सिस्टमनं हा रिस्पॉन्स दिलेला आहे. आपण आशा करूया की ह्याच्यातनं पण बदल काहीतरी होईल आणि नाही झाला तर आपण सगळे लढूया मिळून बदलासाठी.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Balaji Kendre sir, Dr. Chetna Sonkamble madam, and thank you participants. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something from this webinar. I request our Vice Principal, Dr. S.R. Sawant sir, to present vote of thanks. Over to Dr. Sawant sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I deem it my pleasure.
Thank you.
Respected Principal Dr. Rajmani Sahib, resource persons, respected Dr. Kendre, Professor and Head Department of Sociology, Mumbai University, Mumbai, and respected Dr. Sonkamble Madam, Dean Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, organizers Professor Nadaf, Dr. Vanbatte, Dr. Kalyan Shetty, and dear participants. At the outset, I express my deep sense of gratitude to resource persons for their highly intellectual deliberations and for having enlightened us all about the futurology of education and society in India. I am confident, sir and madam, that your deliberations will definitely serve as input for us, for all of us. And sir and madam, it was a very pleasant experience to listen to you both. Thank you so much. Next, I express my sincere thanks to Honorable Principal Dr. Rajmani Sahib for his inaugural address, constant encouragement, and great support to organize this national webinar. Next, on behalf of us all, I extend my thankfulness to Professor Nadab, Head Department of Sociology, SGM College, Karad, Professor Dr. Vanbatti Sir, Head Department of Education, Dr. G.B. Kalyan Shetty, Coordinator IQAC and Autonomous College, for having organized such a wonderful event. Finally, I thank all the participants for their deep interest, tremendous response, and wholehearted participation. Once again, thank you one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, it is announcement for you. The certificates will be sent to your email after 15th of August. Thank you, you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much to the organizing
Thank you.
team.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
End the meeting.